large conglomerate who has a pump division, and it's again, I got to be careful that I don't mention names here because they could sue me. But the first project was an absolute disaster. They decided they were going to develop a smart pump. And some customer has suggested, why don't you guys come up with a pump, an industrial pump that's intelligent? Because pumps are pretty dumb, you know. You turn them on, they pump water, and that's it. They said this is a pump that would recognize its own environment, and if things are going wrong, such as vibration or something going wrong with the pump, it would take the necessary corrective action and save a major failure of the pump or major, you know, shaking itself to death or something like this. Come up with a smart pump. And boy, oh boy, this company decided this is the project for us. We're going to be the first people out there with an intelligent pump. And they didn't do any voice of customer research other than this one customer who happened to be DuPont saying, why don't you guys do this? Everyone wanted on the project. It was the project of the year. And I actually went to the company event, the sales and marketing event, sales, marketing, and technical event, where the project teams were being invited up on stage and everybody was clapping and they were bowing and slide presentation. And these guys came up and they got a round of ovation like you wouldn't believe because their product was incredible. They had designed a pump with attached to a microprocessor or computer. And the product had all kinds of sensors, so it could sense vibration, could sense pressure, temperature, anything you want, downstream, upstream, in the housing, and processed all this data and took the necessary action, speeded it up, slowed it down, etc. And people thought, this is phenomenal. Of course, they're all techies. And they actually sold one. And that was it, one. They spent $20 million on this thing. It was brilliant technology, brilliant. And the thing died, and they had to pull it off the market in a year. Phase 2, new managing director rolls into the U.S. operation from Italy. He's a strong believer. He runs a pump division in Italy, same company. Strong believer in VOC. He was horrified to see how much money they'd spent and hadn't talked to any customers. They already knew the solution before they even understood the problem. So he brought in a group he'd been using in Europe to teach people how to do voice of customer. This is a group called the NIMBA group out of Stockholm, I believe. Done a lot of work on training people how to do voice of customer research, etc., B2B. And the next thing, you know, that they've resurrected this project, and it's become one of the B2B, become one of the voice of customer projects. And they get out there and they start talking to customers. 3-person teams, technical, marketing, sales guy. And they go around to many, many pump users, you know, petroleum refineries, chemical plants, people that are using pumps. And you know, an interesting thing is nobody mentioned the pump vibrates a lot. This is not an issue. But they ask some very interesting questions, like when you lie in bed at night and think about pumps, what keeps you awake? Well, let me think about that. Or your pump is your friend because? That was another good question. Or what is your major point of pain when it comes to pumps? And you know what they kept coming up with time and again? We've got a plant here, a facility that has 25 pumps. They're 50 or 100 horsepower each. They run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and boy, does that use electricity. When electricity was cheap, not a problem. Now it's killing us. And so the naive product developer would say, aha, let's develop a more efficient pump, but it's been done. It's just like the internal combustion engine. It's there. You know, you can spend $1 billion and improve it by 2%. One of the things they did is they were walking through the customer's facility, you know, with their hard hat on and their goggles, because you're supposed to do that when you do voice of customer. You're supposed to be out there touching real customers, seeing them use, abuse, and misuse the product. One of the things they noticed is beside every pump, there was a valve. And they said, what's that for? Well, that's to control the flow. Now, just a minute here. You're running the pump full speed, right? 50 horsepower running flat out. In the US, it's 1750 RPM. And then you're using a valve to slow the flow down. Isn't this a bit like driving an automobile with your foot on the accelerator to the floor as fast as you can go and then using the handbrake to control the speed? This is stupid. We have a solution. We have the technology to sense downstream supply, upstream demand, microprocessor, slow the pump down when you don't need it as much. And boy, oh boy, they came out with this smart variable speed supply demand pump in the earlier part of this century. And it was incredible. I mean, sales just skyrocketed. In an existing installation, a retrofit, the pump paid for itself in about 8 months, saved electricity. In a new installation, you didn't even need the valve, so it paid for itself almost immediately. Huge success. Tale of two cities, the worst of times, the first project, the best of times,
That's
second
a
project.
great story, Bob.
And really a lot of lessons learned. These guys became firm believers. I know the head engineer, I still communicate with him from time to time. He's gone on to become the CTO of the corporation. And he said this was one of his big learnings too. We all remember the smart pump.